I think for most people, when they think Mississippi, when they think history, they think that we're all here in Oxford, football, Faulkner, and Confederate flags. You know, they just have a very narrow view of the state, and they use that a lot of times to kind of scapegoat the state. I'm not crazy, I'm not foolish. I know the history of my state, the good, the bad, and the ugly, but it's still home, and we still working. And it is very easy for people to try to become saints through our sins. They may go down Molly Bar Road, but they don't know anything about Miss Molly Bar. They may know William Faulkner, but they know less about the black woman who raised him, Caroline Barr Clark. We are in the 1910 edifice of the Burns United Methodist Church. This is a museum and cultural center. So all three of the oldest black churches are right along this street. This is in Freedmantown. This is where the newly freed folks came and established their community. The very first things that African Americans did after their time of enslavement was run to get married, have their marriages certified, run to own some land so they could eat and farm for themselves, and run to educate themselves and their children. It's why black landowners all across the state of Mississippi, all across the South, donated land for churches and schools, including this one we're sitting in right now. There's always this thing, and part of this is from the Delta, that blacks live across the tracks. Well, that's not actually the case in a lot of communities in North Mississippi, in the Hill Country. In fact, here in Oxford, we lived on both sides of the tracks, and we owned the land that was on both sides of the tracks. Having a piece of American pie has always been important to blacks. Having a place they could call their own, where they could sustain themselves and their family on work of their own hands, was always very important. You were growing food for your own consumption, or whether you were growing food for the market, it's very important. I tend to want to talk about the land we kept and us struggling for the land and what the land allowed us to do and our resistance and our resiliency. That's the story that I tell.